engines, clanging pipes, coughing, a TV show seeping through the thin walls. Gracie's water dish was full, kibble still in her food bowl, the day's ration of rawhide chews and peanut butter stuffed bones untouched. So she had died in the morning. Gracie's balls and toys were in a circle near her bed. One was near her mouth, the yellow one, her favorite. Gracie had always been obsessive about chasing and retrieving, her eyes wide and tail wagging as she brought each of her toys over to Carolyn and deposited them at her feet. Whether Carolyn was on her cell, online, or reading, she would pick up the toys and simply hand them back. There was no room to throw them, and in any case the neighbors would have complained about the noise they would have made. But it didn't matter to the dog. Gracie never tired of this ritual. When Carolyn got sick of it, she'd pick up all the toys and balls and stuff them in the closet, or else the poor dog would have run back and forth until she collapsed. Carolyn had first encountered Gracie running loose in a vacant lot near Prospect Park. When the limping, emaciated dog trotted over with a rolled-up newspaper in her mouth, Carolyn knew all she needed to know. She and the dog had walked straight to a nearby vet, Gracie carrying the 2-day-old New York Times all the way. The vet said she had been starved and neglected. $600 that Carolyn didn't have later. Gracie was shiny, happy, and healthy. Carolyn put up lost dog posters in the neighborhood, but weeks went by and nobody came to claim her. From that first day on, they became constant companions. They rode out blizzards together, went to the beach, visited the dog run every day. When Carolyn worked at her computer, Gracie offered herself as a warm footrest, and like a proud mother, Carolyn put Gracie's photo up on her Facebook page. Whenever Carolyn went to the corner cafe for coffee, Gracie sat outside and waited, never taking her eyes off the door. She had many more friends in the neighborhood than Carolyn did, and their walks were punctuated by greetings from neighbors, doormen, cops on patrol, delivery people. Gracie was just one of those dogs that made people smile. She connected Carolyn to the world in a way she had never really been able to do herself. But Gracie had been diagnosed with congestive heart failure more than a year earlier. It could have been something much worse. Dr. Meyer had told her, pointing to a gray shadow over the dog's ribs on the X-ray. "She's had 9 years. A good life for a golden," he said. 5 of those years had been with Carolyn. "She'll probably die in her sleep. There's not much we can do." The last alternative surgery was invasive, painful, expensive, and doubtful. Carolyn had said no. Now here she was, down on the floor, her face buried in Gracie's gray, cold muzzle. Outside, the sun had already moved past the enormous buildings across the street, and the apartment was now cloaked in the late afternoon November gloom. It was a long time before she got up. Carolyn remembered how Gracie got her through her mother's death, and later, Keith's walking out on their 5-year relationship. Gracie was there when Carolyn got laid off, when her sister got sick, when a date went sour, when the nights got lonely. It was Gracie who kept love alive for her, whenever it was like a flickering candle, always threatening to go out. Carolyn sat quietly on the floor, stroking the dog as it approached dinner time. Only then did it occur to her to wonder about Gracie's body, what she should do with it. She was in the middle of Brooklyn, not on some farm upstate where dogs could be buried in the woods. She had no idea what people did with the bodies of dogs. The thought panicked her a little. She called Dr. Meyer's office. He was still there, the receptionist said, and after a few minutes he came on the phone. "Gracie is dead," she said, her voice unsteady but clear. There was silence on the other end of the phone, and Carolyn thought for a second that they'd been disconnected. The doctor sounded concerned, but also distracted. Carolyn could hear phones warbling and nervous dogs barking in the background. She wondered how many times he had to do this in a week. "I don't know what to do now,"